All right, so we are joined by one of our greatest alumni of recent memory, class of 2018, Hall of Famer of Velma Jackson, current Jackson State student, Hinds Community College alum, Tamera Jackson. Thanks for taking some time for us today. This is our college career readiness class. We got juniors with us here with me now and with Coach Drain, and we're recording this for all of our juniors and seniors at Velma Jackson High School, for our friends at Ridgeland High School, Germantown High School, Madison Central High School, and for our YouTube channel. So thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome. So I'm going to start by beginning. My name is Tamera. I graduated in 2018. I did get my degree from Hinds in 2020. Then I took off a year. I went to nursing school. I took off during COVID. I went to nursing school in 2021. Didn't like it. And now I'm back at Jackson State pursuing my degree in business administration. In between there, I have had a lot of great opportunities. I have worked for Mississippi Department of Employment Security. I worked there for a year where I was doing my gap year. I have also worked as a pharmacy tech at Walgreens. I have my CPR certification, and now I also have my insurance license to sell life, health, and accident insurance as well now.
Now, before we get into your college journey, let's start at Velma Jackson, because you were involved in a lot of stuff.
I was
cheerleading, TSA. That's just the two I'll know off the top of my head, because, like I said, you were a Hall of Fame inductee here in 2018. So talk about all those activities you did in high school and how that translated into your transition into Hinds.
Okay. Well, I was a cheerleader from 9th grade till 12th grade. I did TSA from 8th grade till 12th grade year. With TSA, I was part of the first TSA team at the time it was Northeast, and now Shirley Simmons. And then when I went to nationals, and we went to Washington, D.C., and then my 9th grade year, we went to nationals again, and we went to Grapevine, Texas. It was a great experience. Like, I had never been like far, but we were gone for like a week and a half. We went to water parks, Six Flags. We just did a lot. I was also part of Beta. We went to the coast every year for the Beta convention. We were there for like maybe half a week. I was part of SGA. I was in FCA, which is Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and we did that with Ridge Chris.
Yep.
And we did that. It was like a weekend. We did weekend 180, and we basically got to stay with like a lot of people from like other schools, like in our age range. So that's really where like a lot of my connections started, because I got to stay at the house of Judge Stacy O'Neal at the time and her husband, and we was there with a bunch of 12th grade girls, and I just loved it. Like, that's really where like a lot of the connections started. I still have a great relationship with most of those girls to this day. What else did I do? I was part of a lot of stuff. I just can't think of everything off the top of my head.
Well, and that's fine, but I just want to show the importance of that translating into being a successful professional or successful student, because you and several other students went to Hinds Community College in Raymond, and I know the majority of y'all did not pay for that.
No, I didn't pay anything out of pocket when I went to Hinds.
Yeah,
because basically, like grades are like great, but they also want to see that you can balance your grades with other activities as well. And so I ended up getting, like, when I graduated from Velma, I had full financial aid, which I was getting like $3,000 a semester. And then I had a 22 on my ACT, and I was getting like $1,200 from Hinds a semester as well. And I also had, since I had above a 20 on the ACT, I was getting the HELP grant, which paid full tuition. So my first semester at Hinds, my refund check was like $1,400. And I didn't have to pay any of that money back. And then my second semester, I decided to become an RA. And I got back a $4,000 refund check. And I remind you, I do not have to pay for any of that. Like, all of that went into my pocket, and I got my full education paid for. I didn't have to take out any loans or anything like that. So it was nice. I could do whatever I wanted with my money, and I have to worry about paying it back later on in the future and everything. So Like they love to see that, they love for you to participate, and they love for you to also keep up your grades. Because in order to get full financial aid, that help grant, and that ACT scholarship that I got from Hinds, you have to have at least a 3.0.
Yep.
And you must maintain your 3.0. And it's not hard having a 3.0. That's just basically like all B's. So if you have, three A's, a B, and a C, that's still gonna maintain your 3.0. So it's not hard.
Yeah, and
I
I
know.
think, and one thing that I didn't mention before you got on is that you're a family of 7 children. So I don't care
Mhm.
who you are. When you got 7 kids, it's tough for anybody to pay for kids to go to college. So, but you found a way to make that happen by using resources that are easily accessible.
Mhm. And my brother Nicholas goes to Jackson State with me now. And he didn't go to a JUCO first like me, because I decided to go to JUCO route because it was a cheaper option for me myself. And he didn't go to JUCO route, and he came straight to Jackson State now. Jackson State tuition alone is Hinds, room, board, tuition, meal plan, all of that. So Jackson State tuition alone is just all of that put together. And with him being here at Jackson State, he really only had to pay about, I think he paid about about $800 out of pocket for the
Wow.
semester,
Wow.
and that's it. And I think like for him a semester, I think they paid, I want to say maybe $8,000 or $9,000 a semester just to stay on campus.
Wow.
So like it's crazy.
Yeah. Now, before, and we obviously want to talk about Jackson State, but I still want to talk about a little bit about Hinds, because you talked about getting connected with a lot of people while you're in high school. And one thing I've always said, unfortunately, and even of our school or some of the schools on the south end of the district, it's kind of a bubble. You grew up sheltered. You're not around a whole lot of other people.
Mm-hmm.
Because you made those connections in high school, when you got to Hinds, Hinds is diverse and it's bigger
It
classes,
is.
and it's a different environment. But you said yourself that being in all that stuff helps you adjust to that. And you guys had great grades and were really model students there at Hinds. So how was that Hinds experience being around a different type of people in a different environment?
Like I'm not gonna lie, like my first semester I struggled because I was so worried about like, my grades, keeping up my GPA. Like I did not have like a balance. And like in college, you need a balance. So like I struggled. Like I didn't have really like, other than like, the people that I came to Hinds with from Velma, I didn't really have like many friends my first semester. And so like, we had our roommates and things like that. And I think that's really where we started to like branch off, because like you're in classes with these people, and most of the time, depending on your major, you're in classes with them all the time. So basically you're taking basically every other class with these people. So you kind of have no choice but to get to know them. So my going into my at the end of my first semester, my hall director at the time, like, I would have conversations with her all the time. And she was like, I want you to become an RA. It's got good money, it'll bring you the connections. You're gonna have to do it. I'm like, okay. So she set me up an interview to become an RA, and that's where I really started to bloom. I started to get to know so many people that I probably would have never even talked to like a day in my life. And like, now like I'm sitting, on desk, in the dorm room while I'm on duty, and like they're sitting with me talking. I can play Uno. We had a game room. We was playing a week with these girls, and like, I really branched off like a whole lot. And like you really just find like your clique, and like they basically helped me through like my next couple of semesters in school. Because my first semester, oh, I struggled. I was so depressed. I felt like I didn't really have any friends. Like I just stayed in my dorm room all the time. But that second semester, when I really just put my foot out there, like that's when like the connections, and like I was even still like maintaining my grades. I wasn't even worried about grades at that time, because like, I'm in classes with these people. So I'm studying with them. I'm struggling with them. Like, we in this thing together, basically.
Yeah, and
And
it
it was,
really is, and that's a great point, because even if even if you do just the if you do the JUCO route, even on the career technical programs, getting to know the people you're with, it's the same as getting to know coworkers. You can't. I don't know many jobs where you literally are to yourself all the time. You have to learn to be a good teammate and learn to work with other people, because obviously Heinz has people from all over the area, all over the state of Mississippi. So it's not just the small country group at Camden. You got to learn to work with all kind of people, and I'm glad you had that experience. That's a great point. So now you said now you're at Jackson State. And you
Yeah.
said that you had kind of a staggered route to get there, but that's okay because I think it's a perfect time in your life to make these changes. So talk a little bit about how all that transpired, and what your experience is like now at HBCU.
So when I graduated from Hinds, I graduated in the midst of COVID. Like I graduated May 2020. Boom, COVID hit. And so now we all stuck at the house. And I originally, like, my plan was like go to Jackson State that fall. But with COVID hit, I was like, oh no, I don't know. I think I'm just gonna stay at the house. So I ended up getting a job at Lowe's and I was a cashier for them. Loved it. I loved it. I love the people that I meet. Like I'm still friends with some of these people to this day. And I went and got a job at Lowe's. And my friend Gabby, she was like, Tamera, like my mom and them said they need some help down here working for the state with us. I'm like, what? And so I'm like, okay, let me just think about it. So come back like then, probably like around that April of 2021. I was like, I hit her back up and I was like, hey, yeah, but like, is that opportunity still like open? Because, working at Hinds, I mean, not Hinds, working at, Lowe's, I didn't really, they was paying $10, but, you learn real quick, $10 is not a lot of money when you got bills. And so like, are they still, the position still open? She was like, girl, yes, let me just, talk to my mom about it. Remind you, I know Gabby from high school. So like we're still good friends to this day. And so she was like, let me call my mom and talk to my mom about it. Cause she hit up her mom and her mom was like, yes, I got a position open for her in the fraud and overpayment department. Just have her, tell her come down here. The business professional ready to, work. And I was like, okay, let's go. So I ended up going down there. I was like, not even knowing I was gonna be paid. I just knew it was gonna be more to Lowe's. And I get down there, I was like, how much am I gonna get paid? And I was like, oh, we're gonna start you off with $14.90 an hour. I'm like, and so we ended up working out, and she was like, "Yeah, you're gonna work in the fraud and overpayment department." And so from there, like I said, I had my own little desk, my own little cubicle, and like I dealt with like a lot of paperwork during COVID. People were getting all that unemployment money. That's what I dealt with, like the people who were getting that money and they weren't supposed to be getting that money. So I dealt with like a lot of that, and like basically when I want to say probably like that October rolled around, they were like, my supervisors were like, Tamera, we love you here, but we want you to go back and get like a bachelor's degree because that way you can move up faster. Yeah. I remember at the time I already have an associate degree. So to work for the state, you have to have at least 60 hours 60 credit hours to work for them. You don't have to have necessarily a degree, but you need to have at least 60, credit hours of college to work for them. And so that was like, you can work your way up, but it's gonna take a lot longer without a bachelor's degree. And I was like, we want you to go back. I'm like, okay, we'll go back. So towards the end of December, I finally started getting my stuff together to go to Jackson State. And then come start that January of 2022, that's when I got back into school. And now I'm here at Jackson State getting my degree in business administration. And, everybody know, I'm not ashamed to say that, like, I didn't change my major, like, maybe 3 or 4 times. Like, I was in x-ray, then like x-ray. I went to nursing school. And I'm going to tell you, when you're going into these different degrees, you have to have a passion for it, or else you are not going to succeed in it. Like I was passing, but I hated getting up to go to those classes every single day. So now that I'm in my business degree, I'm just like, I can get up and go be like, yeah, let's do this. Versus when I was in my nursing degree, I was passing my classes, yeah, but like I was getting up and like, I was like, you know what? I don't want to go. I call my mom. I'll be crying like, mama, I don't know this for me. And she was like, you know what? You can just change your major again. It ain't like you ain't did it before. And so, like now I'm here at Jackson State with my business degree. I'm loving my class. I'm passing. I got a great GPA. Like I'm paying out of pocket. Thank God I don't have to take out a loan because it's not really that much because I still have all those other grants that I had coming in. Awesome. But I think I paid like a semester I pay like $500 out of pocket.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's incredible. Now and they have a great business program at Jackson State there. But I think one thing I like to hit on is that HBCU stands for historically Black. It does not mean exclusively Black. I think the student body at Jackson State is way more diverse than people realize. There is a very large international population. There are literally there's other Black students, but they are from all over the country: California, New York, Washington, Florida, and there's non-Black students. So it really is a very diverse area where you can learn to work with other cultures, which can only be beneficial in the employment world. So talk about that, because I think a lot of people don't understand that it really is a very diverse campus.
Yeah, like I don't think I have had like maybe one class is I probably had like, just all Black students, but still like they're from all over the United States. It's so different from Hinds. Like Hinds, it was majority white, and like they really didn't want to help you, but like I'm teacher wise, but like here it just stays like I have had all type of teachers. I have had all type of students in the classroom with me. Like my business stats class, honestly, I do not know how I would have gotten out business stats one if it weren't for this little white dude that used to sit next to me in class. Name was Cecil. He was stupid smart. And he was like, he loved Jackson State. And so like he would literally sit up there and tutor us before the test. Like I was before the test, tutor us, and we would be sitting up there passing business stats. And like our business stats teacher, he's Nigerian. So it's like you have this little white boy over here, you got our Nigerian teacher over here, you got a bunch of confused students. And so, like, really, like, I have, like, we have a large group of, like, Hispanics, I believe, when I came into Jackson State. We had the first Hispanic girl on the dance team, and then we have now the first Hispanic drum major as well. And so, it's very diverse. Like, I don't think you're gonna walk campus and not see, like, different type of people. Like, it's just not Black people. And honestly, I feel like you get more help here for the real world than you would at like versus me when I was at Hinds, or, some of my friends that have went to, PWIs, they were like, well, basically like you're on your own. Here is more like a little tight knit. Like in our classroom, it was basically like at Velma. Max probably 28, 30 kids in some of the classes. So like, you really get to know your professions and things like that. So
yeah, and that's a great point, because obviously we have great colleges of all sizes here in Mississippi, and we have some students that are interested in going to Ole Miss, Southern Miss, and Mississippi State, and those are fine. But it's important to realize, like you said, knowing those class sizes, because you know how you learn. I think it's important when somebody makes a college choice, don't go because of the football, don't go because they have pretty buildings or your friends go there. You're going to be wasting your time if you're in a big, because I tell the story all the time, and I know y'all get sick of hearing it. When I was at Southern Miss, I was in a class with like 300 people. And there was a guy in that class I had known my entire life, and I did not know we were in the same class to the last day. And it is that easy to get lost in the shuffle. And like you said, if you're used to Velma Jackson having that close knit and that work with your professors that's very tight, a Jackson State could be a great fit for anybody. Whether whether you're coming from Madison Central or Velma Jackson, that is a big deal when it comes to how you learn.
Mm-hmm. And especially, you always have to think of when you're going into like these schools like this, you have to make sure you have to think about the fact that you are spending money on this. Like, this is not free. Like, if you're going to choose to like go to Ole Miss, you have to really think about the fact that you're spending out $15,000-$16,000 a semester at Ole Miss. So if you're going to go to these type of school, you're going to make sure that you're going to get the best of the best out of your education, because 9 times out of 10, unless you make a 26, 27 on SAT, you're going to have to pay out of pocket when you're going to like some of these schools, because now I think they didn't raise the score up to like maybe like a 23 just to get like a little $1,000 scholarship. So like you want to have to make sure that you think about the fact that if I'm gonna go to USM, I'm gonna go to Alcorn, I'm gonna go to Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Jackson State, you have to think about what you're gonna pay, not just to go because I want to go there because they always seem like they're gonna have a good time. No, that'd be stupid, because you're gonna fail out and then you're gonna owe all that money back.
Yeah, and that's a great point too, because if you take out a loan, whether you graduate or not, you're on the hook for that money. And I hate to scare people about that, but that's a reality. And so many kids fall into that trap where they'll go to the big school and they're on the hook for that money, whether they graduate or not. Now, before I get to these questions, because I do have a few from the students, I did want to mention also, um, uh, you could go to Jackson State, have a great experience, and save money and live at home, because there's a lot of community students and they're on campus all the time. So I think that's another option people need to look at. So, and even if you want to, in Hinds is the same way. Living on campus is fun, but it's not a necessity. You can have a great college experience, save yourself. We had a guest last semester who went to Hinds and Jackson State. She commuted both of them, lived at home, and said she was on campus all the time. But she did it to save money, and now she's working for the State Department of Child Protective Services. And like she really didn't have to pay a lot for college. So I think that's an important point as well, is that you can live at home and still get a great college experience if that's what you want.
Yeah. And I'm just going to say it like this. If you are not the type of person where you're going to put your education first, being a commuter, staying on campus is probably not for you. You probably need to commute, because if you're going to stay on campus and all thing you're going to do is, run around with your group of friends, go party and things like that, this is not for you, because what you're going to need to do, you're going to have to put your education first. Me personally here at Jackson State, I commute because, for one, I'm 23 now. And so, I just feel like, I'm just in a different headspace than I was when I was 21. And so, I commute and I hang out on campus a lot. Don't get me wrong. I'm done with classes. I got done with classes at 11 today. So I'm done with classes, but you see, I'm still here with my friends.
Yeah.
I'm still here with my friends because they have classes, but I don't. And so I'm just really up here, I'm still participating in things that we have on campus. Just because I'm a commuter does not mean I don't get into the games. I still get into the games, football, basketball games, stuff like that for free. So I still have all the amenities of being here on campus without having to stay on campus, paying that extra $6,000-$7,000 out of pocket to stay on campus. So.
Yeah, and especially with the water issues that Jackson's had this year, commuting is a good idea to Jackson State. But I do want to get to as many of these questions as I can, and we got some really good ones. These are all juniors. This is Harmony Williams, and she's asking about nursing school. And she said, "What about nursing school did you not like, or was it just a change of heart?"
Nursing school is not bad at all. You're gonna have to study a lot. It's just that when you go into nursing school or in a profession like that where you actually helping people, you have to have a passion for it. And for one, I didn't have the passion for it. If you give somebody even a drop too much of medicine, you kill them, now you going to jail. I'm not gonna put my life on the line for people like that. I'm sorry. I love people but I don't love them that much, And so you really have to think about stuff like that. I have a passion to help people, and that's why I decided to go get my insurance license, because I feel in the Black community that is something that we truly do lack is, health and life insurance. And so, I'm still helping people. I just don't want to, help them when it comes to life or death. I don't want to help them when it comes to, putting my life on the line for their life.
Yeah, and I think that's a big deal too, and you mentioned it earlier. Don't go to college to try to get a degree because you just think it's all about a lot of money. These big money careers are going to weed people out in a hurry. So it could be that is a big mistake. Now, this is Celeria Chesser, and she wants to get into accounting and business like you are. And she asked, "Did you have any experience with accounting before you got into your degree program?"
Actually, yes. Me working at MDS, I worked with the numbers part of the fraud and overpayment department. So basically, what I did was, I, when people say that they were not working and we're getting all that $800 a week from the unemployment money, well, their social security numbers were going through this system saying that, yeah, you were working, and their company was sending us those hours that they worked and how much they worked during that week. And so what my job was to do was go back and calculate how much we had paid them during those time, how much they said that they had worked, and basically saying how much now they owe us back, because you were not supposed to be working, making over $40 a week and getting all that money that they were getting. You probably could have still got something money, but you weren't gonna get the whole $800. And so my job was to go and calculate how much that we had paid them, and then to send them a letter saying that this is how much you owe. You owe us $12,000, and you can start making your first payment of $150 starting the first of this month. If not, I'm finna put a lien on your house. You're not gonna be able to do nothing.
All right, now this is Anarian Mayfield, and he's got two questions. The first one is, was there another college you wanted to go to?
No,
Okay.
I always been JSU till I die. If you go back and look at some of my high school pictures, it's gonna say you're gonna see me with my JSU attire on.
That's true. You
But
did
yeah,
well.
like
And he also asked, how did high school impact your college choice?
I went to a primarily Black high school, and so when you see like how Velma was treated versus how like the schools on the other end were treated, you kind of start looking at life a little different. Because like Velma didn't have all the resources that some of those other schools did. Like, and then Velma is so old, like you just they wasn't getting updated like some of the other schools getting updated. They didn't have the books and the programs that the other schools didn't have. So when I decided to come to Jackson State, like I already knew like I wanted to go somewhere where I feel like I wasn't a misfit. I wanted to go somewhere where I feel like I fit in and didn't have to worry about well you have to act this type of way to be around this type of people. Like I could be myself without having to worry about, oh, I'm gonna get judged, they're gonna look at me this type of way and stuff like that.
That's a great point, and that's why I'm such a big proponent of the HBCUs because it's so important for the culture, and with the way the world has changed, with people outside the culture getting to experience it now. So which I think is great for anybody considering it. Really needs to take a hard look at HBCU. Now this is Denoa Thompson. This is a great question. He asked, "What is your biggest obstacle you faced while in college?"
My biggest obstacle was really change. When you grow up, like going to Velma, like those people basically from elementary school all the way to high school. And so like going to from Velma where I know basically everybody to going to Hinds where it's like 4,000 kids on campus. Like I don't know everybody. Like it's a new environment. I don't know how to react to these people and things like this. Like you kind of like you shuffling yourself. That's why I had like such a hard time my first semester because like I always been a social person, but when I went there I was like I didn't know how to be social. I didn't know how to put myself out there. It's not that I didn't know how to. I was scared to put myself out there because I was scared that those people were not gonna like know me for me or like me for me. And once I like realized like, okay, these people just as crazy as me. They like to talk just as much as me. That's when like you really start, looking at life different, and like those college friends really change your whole perspective of life. Like when I first started Jackson State, I was kind of nervous because I did not know anybody here at Jackson State at the time. And so when I started, I was like, I'm a little nervous. And like come my second, third semester, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see my people. It's totally different experience.
Yeah, and it's like I've said all the time, even in a small high school class, you still may keep in contact with your high school classmates, and you should, but the people that you are going through college with every day are going to be the ones you grow close to. I had a big high school class, and I still talk to a good bit of them, but I talk to maybe 2 or 3 on a regular basis. And it's not that we're not friends, but once you grow older and get more professional, that's the people you seem to connect with more. And I'm glad you've been able to reach out, because that's really cool. I just got 2 more. This is Fred Johnson, and he asked, "What was the toughest part about the enrollment process, and how did you adapt to it?"
But Jackson State, the toughest part about the enrollment process is actually getting in touch with these people. Like, if you want to go to Jackson State, you have to want to go to Jackson State, okay? Because if not, you're going to be like, you're going to give up. You're going to be like, these people getting on my nerves. Especially like when you're trying to do stuff like over the phone, like the best thing to do is always do stuff in person. Like if you're working, take that day off to actually go on campus, go actually talk to these people face to face. When Howard was smooth, easy peasy, especially like when you get in early. Do not ever wait till last minute to like do stuff, because then they're gonna run out of work study jobs, they're gonna run out of financial aid to give you, they're gonna run out of room and board to give you. Like, don't ever wait till last minute, because that's when it starts getting hard, the pressure starts building. Like you always have to be on top of your stuff early. Like, people always like, well, you have time. No, you don't. You don't have time. Because come May, most people already got their dorm rooms for the schools that they gonna go to picked out. And if you plan on staying on campus, you going to a school that's 3 hours away from your house, how you gonna commute? Because now you ain't got no dorm room. So now you gotta choose somewhere else to go last minute that's gonna be close to home, which probably wasn't your first choice to begin with.
Yeah. And I think that's important. And that's a good point too, because a lot of these schools have separate applications. You have
Mhm.
a general application, a scholarship application, and a housing application. And it's important to do that research because that's three different things that have to be filled out. It's not
And
like
you have to pay for all of it.
yeah, and it's not like high school. You know, they're not going to extend deadlines for you. They're going to stick to it, and if you're late, you're late. And it's just it's you know
Try
doing
again
this
next
stuff.
year.
You know, part of college is taking care of business and staying on deadlines. I just got one more. This is Carl Wilson, and we hadn't really talked about this. He said, "What are your plans for after college?"
Currently I'm getting my insurance license. Well, I already got my insurance. Like I'm literally working deals. Now, the thing with your insurance license, on thing with your insurance license to get your insurance license, you have to be 18 and you have to have a high school diploma. You don't have to go to college. You don't have to do none of that. However, like, I just worked out an insurance deal with one company and I walked away. I did about an hour and a half worth of work and I walked away with like maybe about $6,000. And so like
Wow.
you really don't have to do a lot. However, in my course of like going from like job to job, because I'm not afraid to try a new job. So I was working at a daycare and I was working at a daycare in Glusted. And everybody know about Glusted. Glusted is where the hot money makers at now. Those were the real money makers at now. And so I came across this lady. She was a Jackson State graduate, and she's an independent insurance agent, and she's a millionaire. She's a millionaire. And she was like, I want you to do this. You in school, just go get your license and go to this class and do this, that, and the third. So like to get your insurance license, like I took the 3 day class. It was just a weekend. It was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I was done by Sunday. And I think that class was like $200. I took the $200 class and I paid $50 to take the test. I passed the test after 3 times because I didn't pass the first couple times. I'm just gonna be honest. That test was hard. So after after 3 times, I passed the test, got my license, and I started working with her. And so basically, she was like, "We're gonna make sure you get your degree because she's basically teaching me the steps of how to become a millionaire, like with my insurance license. And I'm just not going to be selling life, health, and accident insurance forever. Like sooner or later, I am going to move into retail, say like retail insurance license, and then I'm gonna go into real estate insurance license as well, and then become a broker and all of that. So like I really do like, in order to like do all that, you do need a degree and it does help to know like, just like teaches you these fundamentals, which I'm pretty sure you can go to any school and they'll teach you like these fundamentals of like finances and things like that. So like that's gonna help me like increase my education to do what I can do in order to become a millionaire, like she told me.
Yeah, and the financial field is not going away. The financial people are the last people laid off at any job, and that the financial jobs are so in demand. And and you doing it on the side isn't you're always a hustler. So having that as an additional income is going to be very beneficial for you. But we're almost out of time, and we thank you so much for joining us. This is some great information. But before we go, we've had several alumni come back, and I think all of them have been in agreement that y'all wish y'all would have had alumni come back and talk to y'all about things that were possible. You were sitting in these same seats with these same teachers, walking these same halls in the same building. And a lot of y'all become so successful, but y'all have said out of your own admission, even though y'all were telling us this stuff, one, sometimes we weren't listening, and two, we didn't have the alumni come back and tell us. So how important is this information that you're giving these kids?
I was very important, especially like, going into like the real world. Like once you get here, you realize that like $17 an hour is not a lot of money to survive and to support a family off of. And then you also realize that, college is not the only path to become successful because you can go get your real estate license. You can be 16 to go get your real estate license. You can go get your insurance license. You can go become a pharmacy tech, starting off with $15 an hour. And I wish somebody would have told me about these options beforehand, before I decide to, keep going to school, changing my mind, thinking that like medical school, becoming a nurse, a doctor, and a lawyer was the only options for you, when those are not the only options. Because you can go work in the finance field, go get a degree in finance, work in the finance field, starting off at $200,000 a year. And no one ever tells you stuff like that. And I wish somebody would have told me that. And I probably would have stuck to what I knew, because I'm always been good at math and science. And I would have stuck to what I knew.
Well, no matter what you do, you're going to be successful. And I think I speak for so many people. We are so proud to call you an alumni. And we are always more than happy to hear your wisdom. And we are so proud of what you're doing. And I just wish you nothing but the best, because you're doing great at it.
All right. Thank you.
Well, I will talk to you soon. Get back to your friends. I know you're having a great time.
All right. Thank you. Y'all have a good one.